The Christmas Night Visitor. It was Christmas Eve, and 10-year-old Brian was struggling to fall asleep. The house was quiet, save for the occasional creak of the settling snow outside. His parents had gone to bed hours ago, and the soft glow of the Christmas tree lights spilled into the hallway from the living room. Just as he began to drift off, he heard it, a knock at the front door. It was soft, deliberate, and too late for visitors. Brian froze, his heart racing. He listened, waiting for his parents to respond, but their room remained silent. Another knock followed, louder this time. Curiosity got the better of him. Slipping out of bed, Brian tiptoed down the stairs, each step creaking under his weight. He reached the door and peeked through the frosted window. There was no one there, only the swirling snow illuminated by the porch light. Cautiously, he unlocked the door and pulled it open. A blast of icy wind hit his face, making him shiver. On the doorstep lay a red scarf, bright against the snow. The material shimmered slightly in the light, almost as if it were alive. Brian hesitated, then picked it up. The scarf was surprisingly warm, but as he held it, a strange acrid smell hit his nose, like burnt wood and something metallic. It wasn't unpleasant, but it made his stomach churn. As he turned to close the door, he noticed something strange. There were no footprints in the snow. Whoever had knocked hadn't left a single mark. Shutting the door quickly, he held the scarf closer, examining it under the light of the Christmas tree. The fabric seemed to ripple, and for a moment, he thought he saw faint patterns moving along its surface, like shadowy figures dancing in the weave. Then the whispers began. They were faint at first, like distant voices carried on the wind, but they grew louder. Words he couldn't understand filled his ears, overlapping, insistent. Brian dropped the scarf, backing away, but the whispers continued, now coming from the scarf itself, curling through the air like smoke. The door rattled violently, the knob twisting as if something were trying to get in. Brian screamed, running for his parents' room, but as he reached the stairs, he stopped dead in his tracks. The scarf had followed him, lying at his feet, coiling slightly like a living thing. The whispers turned to laughter, soft, cruel, and echoing. The house grew colder, frost creeping along the windows and walls. The Christmas lights flickered, then went out, plunging the room into darkness. Brian felt the scarf wrap around his ankle, tugging gently but firmly. He tried to kick it away, but it held tight, pulling him toward the front door, which now stood wide open. Through the doorway, Brian saw not the snowy yard, but a vast black void. Shapes moved within it, shadowy figures with glowing eyes, reaching out with elongated hands. The scarf tugged harder, dragging him closer to the threshold. Summoning all his strength, Brian grabbed the scarf and yanked it free, throwing it into the darkness beyond the door. The figures shrieked in fury as the scarf vanished into the void. The door slammed shut with a deafening bang, and the house fell silent. When his parents rushed downstairs moments later, they found Brian curled up by the Christmas tree, trembling and pale. He tried to explain what had happened, but they chalked it up to a bad dream. The next morning, as the family opened presents, Brian couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. And when he looked out the frosted window, he saw it. A red scarf draped across the snowman in their yard, swaying gently in the wind.